and welcome to day 5 of the 7-day Quick Start program from Old Town Hypnotherapy. Now, carrying on from yesterday, today we are going to talk about personality types. Because this, has an important impact on how we deal with other people. And understanding how we behave and how we operate, and understanding that there are differences with how other people operate, helps us to deal with things in a different way and helps us to accept people for who they are, and helps with our interaction and our anxiety about other people. When we have anxiety and there's other people involved, we often think it's about us. We can think that other people don't like us for some reason, or we can go the opposite and think that everybody else is idiot. It can go either way, and that actually often depends on your personality types. And this comes from a book called, it's called Warriors, Settlers and Nomads by Terence Watts. Now you can get that, and I will put a link underneath the video today for that book that you can buy from Amazon, and I would certainly recommend getting it, because as I started saying yesterday, dealing with other people is probably one of the major causes of stress and anxiety and depression, and it's something that everybody who comes to see me as a hypnotherapist will be coming across in some way or other. So understanding about people is really a fundamental skill in creating yourself a happy, relaxed life that you're in control and getting on with people around you. Because at the end of the day, we are tribal. We're supposed to work as a community and not individually. We can survive individually. If in this modern day world, we wouldn't have been able to back in primitive times, we can in this modern day world because all the facilities are there, but we don't survive particularly well. We don't thrive. We can survive, but we don't thrive. We need a community in order to bring out our best qualities and thrive. So let's go back to personality types. Right, well, based on the book by Terence Watts, Warriors, Settlers and Nomads. He explains that once upon a time we were all very nomadic. We travelled around the world. That's how we populated the world. It was basically following our food around, and we we started spreading right across the world from having this nomadic lifestyle. In human terms, we have been around as modern humans for about 500,000 years. Okay, now it was relatively recently in history that we started settling down and forming communities. In fact, it's about 10,000 years ago. As recent as that. I know that's surprising, isn't it? It's only 10,000 years ago that we started to form communities and the first people started settling down. And it came from this nomadic people. A group of them got together and they thought, why are we wandering around? Why, not knowing what's around the next corner, not knowing where we're going to sleep. Why don't we settle down here? We've got nice caves, we've got fresh water, there's food all around us. We can settle here, we can look after each other's needs, we can share tasks, we can build communities, and build a life around us here rather than going out to try and find something new all the time. So they did that, and they became what we call the settlers. As we evolved a little bit more, another group of people emerged, and they came and they looked to the settlers and thought, that's a good idea, but they're not very well protected from wild animals or other wild tribesmen, and they're a little bit disorganised. They're not achieving an awful lot here. So we can move in, we can get them organised, we can lead them, and we can offer them protection, and in return they can look after our needs, they can do the cooking and cleaning, they can nurture us and look after our needs whilst we're protecting them. So they did that, they moved in and they became what we call the warriors. And in the meantime, the third group of people, they looked at those warriors and the settlers and they thought, no, don't want any of that, don't want any of that looking after other people and having responsibility for that community and telling people what to do. And I certainly don't want to be cooking and cleaning for somebody and looking after other people's needs. We like our life of constant change. We like the excitement of exploring and finding out what's around the corner. We're going to carry on doing that. And they did, and they're what we call the nomads. So we have warriors, settlers, and nomads, and we each have one of these personality types that is stronger within us today. Now, what's interesting about these personality types and the personality type that you have, which you'll start to identify as I'm talking through this, I'm sure, is that each personality is a double-edged sword, or has two sides to a coin, if you like. And it's their strengths that are also their weaknesses, where depending on whether on the positive side, their intellectual side of their brain, or whether they're on the primitive negative side of their brain. And to explain a bit more about that, if we take the settlers. Now, settlers are lovely people persons, however you say that. Their main concern and priority in life is people, other people. They are very, very good with people. They're very nurturing, they're very caring, they put everybody else first, to their own detriment quite often. They're very family orientated, they are children orientated, they're family makers, they're homemakers, and they care about the welfare of other people. You find a lot of them in professions that are caring. For example, primary school teachers. You'll find a lot of settlers in primary school, nurseries, and in nursing, in caring for the elderly, anything that's about caring for other people. You'll find a lot of settlers, and they really are very giving people. So when they are in a good place, they are brilliant at developing and maintaining relationships with people. They're the people that they're the friends that you've got that would always remember your birthday. They'll never forget. They'll always send you a card. And they're the people that always put themselves out to bring you up and make sure you're okay. In a bad place, when settlers flip to their primitive side of their brain, or their primitive side of their brain steps in, their major worry is people. That's the flip side of their coin. Their strength is people, but their worry is people, and they will worry tremendously about what other people think about them. It will cause them huge anxiety. If they're in a bad place, or they lack confidence, then they will worry about how other people perceive them and what they're doing, and whether somebody likes them or not, or what they think about them. And the other thing with settlers is that they will tend to internalise the problems as well. Settlers typically will come out with physical symptoms of anxiety and depression. It will be settlers that will gravitate towards things like, or they will come out with IBS, skin disorders, MS, ME, those ailments that affect the nervous system, because they internalise stuff. They don't let it out. They don't want to worry other people with their stuff. They keep it all inside, and they try and deal with it internally. But actually, it's tearing them up inside, worrying about somebody else. They will also take on everybody else's worries. So, say for example, you've got a settler in your family, and they've got a brother and sister, and the brother and sister's rowing or fighting or whatever. The settler will worry about their problems, even if it's nothing to do with them. And the same if there's a conflict in the office, or if there's another conflict in the home with members of the family, or somebody else in the family is ill. It's not just that they'll be concerned about it. Of course they will. Most of the family will, but they will take it on board and worry about it, and they will want to resolve it for them. They can't stand conflict. Conflict will cause them huge amounts of anxiety and stress, which is why they don't go and deal with it with people, because they can't stand that conflict. They just want everybody to love everybody and everything to be right and everybody to be helping each other out. And they really don't get people who are not nice. Settlers are always lovely. And they just do not understand other people who act selfishly or from a different focus that they don't understand. Because it's just not what they would do. They would never upset or hurt somebody else intentionally. And so when people do it to them, it really upsets them and causes them anxiety and winds them up, because they just don't understand and they don't get why other people are doing that. So that's your settlers. Now, warriors and settlers actually complement each other. If you have warriors and settlers in a relationship or a family or in a department, they do actually complement each other. Warriors are your leaders. They are very good at giving orders, but they're also very good at taking orders as well. You get a lot of warriors in the military because they're actually happy to do what they're told to do or instructed to do, as long as the person giving them the instruction has their respect from a qualification or status point of view. They're very formal in that respect, in that they will see, or people have to earn respect. They aren't just given respect, and they have to, have a status or a qualification that earns them that respect. So they are very good at taking orders, and when they do, they will want to do it perfectly to the letter. They are perfectionists. They want to do things right. And in a warrior's life, there is only right and wrong. There is only black and white. There's no grey in the middle. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. And they do things the right way. I mean, of course, who would do things intentionally the wrong way? Nobody would, but they don't recognise that there are different ways of achieving the same results. There is only a right way to do it. A really good analogy of these different personality types, you could see if you've got a bit of flat pack furniture to make. A warrior would get the flat pack furniture out. They would get everything out of the box. They would check everything off to make sure it's against what they're supposed to have, to make sure everything is right before they start. And then they will go through the instructions step by step by step, following them to the letter. Because the instructions are there for a reason. Why would you have instructions if you're not supposed to follow them? And that's how they view it. They will do it absolutely as the instructions, and they will do it correctly, because that's the correct way to do it according to the instructions. A settler wouldn't even tackle doing it in the first place. They would give it to a warrior to do. And I'll come on to how a nomad will deal with that in a minute. But this is a warrior, and it's typical of a warrior is they have to do things the right way, very much black and white. And they have very, very strong minds. Their world is about control. You will find a lot of them in career positions. They will be very career-minded. They will want to get to the top of their field, and they will want to do it in a very structured way. They will climb up the corporate ladder. They will rise up the success ladder in whatever industry they're in, and they will probably stay within the same industry. Warriors don't tend to jump around a little bit too much. If they do, they will go for a similar career where they already have experience and they can go in at a similar level. They would never jump out of a career and go down to the bottom. They want to go in at that similar level. So you will find a lot of them in professions that require attention to detail, which is one of their fortes. So anything to do with accounting, law, legal, politics. They are brilliant arguers. They have, because of this attention to detail, they're able to hold bits of facts and bits of information in their mind that they pull out whenever they need an argument. They will also pull out facts that they've made up to support their argument, because they have to win an argument, which is why you find a lot of warriors in the top flight in sports in their particular field, because they're very, very competitive. They have to win. Which is why I was talking yesterday about dealing with other people and finding a way of dealing with people. If you come across a warrior in your life, they have to win. So there is no point going head on against a warrior. They will never back down. You have to find another way around it. But they are very good leaders as long as they're following a tried and tested path, because that's the right way to do things. The flip side of their coin, right? Their life is about control. They need to be in control. And a settler is happy for them to take control because a settler doesn't want control at all. It would stress them out having to make decisions. Warriors love making decisions and is happy to, like, that's what we've got to do and go with it and be firm about their decision. Warriors are the personality type that tends to suffer from arrogance the most because they decide they're right and there is no changing their mind at all unless they decide to. But you can't change a warrior's mind. They will argue their point of view and their belief to the death. They won't even accept that there are different beliefs and different ways of seeing the same thing. They will not only have to win the argument, that they will have to have you surrender completely into that they are right and that their way of doing things is right. And you might as well get there straight away because it just prolongs the agony of arguing about that. But if their life is about control, the flip side of their coin is also control. And when warriors get into difficulty, they get into over-control. Over-control of other people, over-control of other people, how other people should behave and think, but also over-control of themselves. And when they can't control things around them, if things start to get out of control in their life, they will tend to take more control over things, which is why it's very, very typical of a warrior type personality to have symptoms such as OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which is a control thing. Eating disorders are also very much about control and control of themselves. They will tend to fall out with other people quite a lot because they will not be able to see how other people's different point of view. So yeah, a settler will hate falling out with somebody. It will really stress them up and they'll want to make it out. A warrior, they couldn't care less if they fall out with somebody. That person's obviously got a defect. And that's how they see the world. So warriors are great leaders, but also control freaks, and their control can turn in on them, and they can get into difficulties due to not being able to let go of control of things. And that is their first step, is just recognise when they can't control something, especially the driver in the car next door. And then our third personality type in nomads. Now, nomads are your mavericks. They think outside the box. They are not, they are unconformist. They do not follow conformity. They do not, they're not sheep in the respect that they do what other people do. They have to make their own decisions, and freedom is of utmost importance in their life. Freedom of mind and freedom of location. They tend to be drama queens in that, it never rains, it pours, and they will make a mountain out of a molehill, and they've always got a drama going on in their life. They will flip from one thing to another. They crave excitement, they crave adventure, they crave new things. So if there's not enough excitement going on in their life, they'll start creating it, and that can be in quite a self-destructive way sometimes. You will find nomads, a lot of nomads in the arts, anything that puts them on stage as centre of attention. They love being centre of attention. So anything that's been about on stage, singing, any of the arts. Also explorers, adventurers, inventors, anything where they are not following the norm and everybody else. They will, entrepreneurs, an entrepreneur is a very, very typical nomad. They will be going off doing their own thing, creating their own space in life. They do not want to do what everybody else has done. They will often do things in extremes as well. They can be an extreme success or an extreme failure, because they just do go. They go all out for something. If they get a new passion on their mind, they will go after that passion 100 and 150%. And they are very good at making successes very quickly. They have a very, very quick mind. So they will flip from one thing to another. Where we say the jack of all trades, master of none, that's very much a nomad, because they will have many professions, they will have many careers, and they will do many different things in their life. And they can be quite completely different. Unlike the warrior, who is master of one, they will want to be perfect at one thing. A nomad will get good enough at something, but then as soon as that thing becomes boring or mundane, or they feel they've mastered it, they're bored and they move on. And this is one of their major problems, is that they have no attention to detail and no or very, very little staying ability. 2 years is probably 2 to 3 years is the maximum a nomad will stay focused on anything in particular. They will be off after that time. They will want to be doing something new. They get bored very easily, so they have to be constantly stimulated with new things and excitement going on in their life. If a nomad moves house, for example, they won't just move to a bigger house, which is what the warrior would do. The settler won't want to move at all because they like their home comfort. They don't like change and moving. A nomad loves change and moving, but they don't just change house, they will change town or even country. It's quite common to find nomads living abroad and living in different countries because they love the experience of new, exciting, different things. They need that stimulation in their mind. So one of the biggest problems that nomads encounter is when they have got bored of their life or their job. And when they do, being a drama queen, they will tend to throw everything up in the air. Say their job has got boring, or their job has got a bit mundane and they're not being stimulated in their job anymore. What they will do, they won't just pack in their job, they will move town or country and probably finish their relationship as well. They will just throw everything up in the air. And the same goes if their relationship is struggling, they're encountering problems with their relationship, their job will be up for it as well, and everything else. Everything becomes part of the problem. So the focus for a nomad is to be able to build change into their life somehow and have different things going on. Because when they get into difficulties, they start creating chaos in their lives. They start creating havoc. They press the self-destruct button and everything goes. As they just leave things behind and they go in search of the new. That's where warriors and nomads differ quite a lot, actually, is that if a warrior encounters a problem in life, they will fix it. They will go at it. They will not give up until they fix that problem. A nomad will go, bored of that anyway, and they'll just leave it behind and go off in another direction completely. So warriors and nomads actually can clash quite a bit, and you can have the same both personalities within you. We often have a combination of all the personalities. One will be stronger, and some will be stronger at different times in your life as well. If you can learn to use the warrior side of your personality and bring that forth when there is a time when you need to work through a problem, when your natural tendency is to go off in the other direction and go and have fun instead and just leave it. So we can learn to use the different personalities within us. We do tend to have one stronger, but we can have a combination, and it's most common to have a combination with one being stronger than the other. But if you have this warrior nomad personality, it's very important that you find some way of getting those working together because they do conflict. A warrior and a nomad in a relationship is quite fiery because it's very conflicting. The warrior will want to control the nomad. The nomad will not be controlled. They need freedom in their life. So as soon as somebody starts trying to control them, they'll rebel against it and they will be off. A settler, on the other hand, gets on with everybody. The chaos that nomads cause in their life tend to stress out a settler a little bit because they like to know where they are with things. They like their home, and they don't like change very much. Nomads love change. Warriors will dominate settlers, but settlers are quite happy about that. They don't want to have to make decisions that will stress them out. So these personalities can work together, but they can conflict when they're on the negative part of their brain. And that's the important thing to remember. In a positive place, they all have amazing strengths. In a negative place, their weaknesses come to the fore, which is why it is your responsibility to make sure you are in a positive place of strength, working from your intellect, where your amazing strengths from your personality work in your favour and work with you to build success in your life, and don't start working against you and against other people. And the other reason for telling you this is to when you can start recognising that people operate of different personalities and have different personality types, it helps you be able to step back and understand and see them for who they are, rather than judging them from your own perspective. Because when you can accept somebody, then the stress goes out of it for you. And when you can identify which personality they are, you can work out your own strategies for dealing with them better. So that's a bit about personality types. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about change, and how if we want things to change in our life, we need to change something. So that's tomorrow, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Don't forget, listen to your CD as you're going to sleep, or your MP3 rather, your hypnosis track tonight as you're going to sleep. It's important you do that every single night. And if you need to get in touch, drop me an email. If there's anything that I've said that has confused you, inflamed you, or motivated you in some sort of way, drop me an email. I'm always happy to discuss. So that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow for day 6, I think, of the 7-day quick start program for Multan Hypnotherapy. Until then, goodbye.